So we are live. Oh, beautiful. So we are live. I'm just checking the tech part and I just need to see the comments that we are live and I will start the interview. 1 second. Yes, we are live.
All right.
All right. All right, doctor. What an honor to meet you, to know you. I've been seeing your videos. I saw this I heard this sentence when you said, the patient in me has to meet the patient in the patient and then collaborate. I fell in love and I went to YouTube and then you were singing a Hindi song, that too about nature. And then I fell in love more. And then I just said, I have to get you here. I have to get you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think it's a blessing to be with you right here and your connection with India. And I am not going to over-prepare I did not want to over-prepare because I wanted to hear your story. This is a mother's platform. You're a great-grandmother. So I would love to know where your story started, how you progress, and we'll take the interview ahead candidly from there.
Well, I love the fact that we have a grandmother story because I'm now a great-grandmother.
Right, right.
So, and my mother went to India and went to labor with me at the Taj Mahal.
Wow, wow.
I just think I think she must have been some kind of a drama queen or something. Because I love that, But anyway, they took their medical work. They were both doctors. My parents were both doctors at a time when women weren't considered doctors. So she really went to India on my dad's passport as kind of excess luggage or something. But, it was not her person, except that she knew it was her person. And she went out to India with the idea that they were taking their mission to the hills and the Ganges plateau, the whole area there, Dehradun, Roorkee, all of that. And we lived in the jungles, in the Sawaliks, between the high Himalayas and the low, the low hills.
Right.
And we lived in tents, so it was wonderful. I thought my child was just the best in the whole world.
I'm sure. And the minute you said Dehradun, I'm married to a family who is from Dehradun. So they would be very excited to hear because I've been talking about you so much to them. And then knowing that you were all grown up around that area. I'm not very far. I'm from Delhi, born and brought up in Delhi. So not very far. It's the same belt, similar belt up there. Yes. And what also an honor to be born in a family who's come all the way from, US to India. And I'm sure it was quite a ride for them to come all the way here during that time. And you're talking about almost 100 years back, more than that.
Oh, it's more. They came in 1914.
Wow.
Right as the war was ending, there were U-boats in the water all the time. They went, with blackouts when they were on the boat and all. It was amazing. But they landed in Delhi and then came by train up to Roorkee.
Beautiful. And were they here through and through, Doc? Like, were they here till the end of their lives or they went back?
Oh, the back and forth. Actually, since they were doctors and they spent my childhood years out in the tents in the jungle. But later on, they started a children's home in Bhogpur for the children of leper parents. Right. And that home is still going on. Wow. I have a nephew who is running that home at this time. His name is Ben John, and he's in charge of that home. And so but it's now opened up to other children. But at that time, these children of leper parents had no place. They were they would have to stay with their parents and get leprosy.
Right, right. And I think we had Mother Teresa working in this space as well in this country for a very long time and
Right.
worked with lepers.
Right.
I think it's the same time that you guys were working, because leprosy, well, we don't see it so much now in today's India, but maybe it was much more prevalent at that time and work needed to be done around it.
Very, very much. And Mother Teresa was down in Calcutta area.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, because she worked in the same space as well, and she became very famous in working in that area as well. So it's an honor to know all of you working in our country so many years back, and also that your childhood. I'm very curious. You love singing Hindi songs. I sometimes see you in your in your salwar suits, the attire that Indians wear, because there are a lot of global audience here. Sometimes I see you with a scarf and dupatta, which is Indian, very Indian looking.
Oh,
So
yeah, I love India. I lived there until I was 15 when I came to the States to go to college.
right.
I had my hair long and in braids all the time through college. I was a very weird person. And when everybody had pretty curls and everything,
Right.
but it was what I wanted to do, and I did. So it was, but India has, I spoke Hindustani before I spoke English.
Wow.
And my grandmother, this is kind of a funny story, because my grandmother had come from Germany during the war, right after the war.
Right.
And she was in Cincinnati, and my parents came back. I was 2 when they came back to the United States, because every 7.5 years they had a furlough, they came back to the States and so on.
Right.
So this was the time when I came back to the United States, and we were staying with my grandmother in her home in Cincinnati. And apparently the family story is that I was 2 and I went downstairs with my grandmother. She was doing the washing, and I was talking to her in Hindustani, and she turns around and looks at me and says in German, "Du babel zu viel." And I said to her, "Du babel zu viel yourself." And so she went back upstairs and told them, "Oh, so this is one of those stories that goes on." But when you have the richness of having different cultures interact on your life, the world is just one place. I mean, we're all the same.
Right. So beautiful.
We just have different experiences.
Yes, and your message of love, and your message of living medicine, and your message of moving together towards achieving this. It's so beautiful to hear. And looking at you, of course, I feel like a baby right now. Suddenly, I'm 40 years old, and I already,
you're young.
yeah. So I feel like a baby, because before you, Lucy, who I think got in touch with Rose with me, when I met her, I started to feel like a teenager. With you now, I'm feeling like a little baby, because she was 77 when I met her. She's 77 and you're 102. And what I love is that looking at all of you, the possibility of how to live and what to do, and being able to bring this message to all of us youngsters, that this is how it's done. So I want to first thank you for that from all our side, to be able to stand up till today and say, this is how it's done and it's possible, and there's just no limit. So thank you so much for living like that, so that we could learn so much, Dr. Gladys, from that, so much. And really honored to know that from you.
And the beautiful thing about it is that all that I have done wouldn't amount to a hill of beans if you didn't pick it up and run with it. Each one of us has to get what we can get from the experiences that others have had, and I like to think that the elders have had, can pass on down to us so that we could build on that. That's the very foundation on which we can build.
Right. So your living medicine, I am so inspired by that myself, and that's why it spoke to me. And this sentence that the patient in my patient has to meet me as a doctor together and collaborate to be able
Right.
to medicate or reverse. And love is also one of the key factors in the medicine. So being living this message, you've spent so many years, and people, when you just say love is the answer, if you want to
Yeah.
elaborate on that, what does it mean for people? Because sometimes in today's time we're lost, that what do you mean by love is the answer? So I would love your wisdom to come out so that we can pass it on to people, that this is exactly what Dr. Gladys is saying, that love is the answer.
You know, interestingly enough, when I was writing this book, I had we were working together. One day we spent 2 hours trying to say, how do we express love? How do we tell people what love is? How do we really have words that say it in the way it needs to be said? And finally came up with the understanding that the trouble with that is that since the beginning of time, people have been trying to express love. They've said it in song, in pictures, in stories, in life things, that we've all been trying to put it into words. But if we have not experienced love, we don't know what it is. It's
Right.
like trying to teach a blind man who was blind since birth that the color green is the color green. If
Right.
you have not experienced it, you really don't know what love is. And there's so many people in the world who have not, and particularly some of the young people now in our country, the young people that are shooting each other, I think somehow have missed the story about life and death. You know, they watch TV and they see a individual come, one of their heroes, and the next day he's dead, he dies. So, but the next day he's back. So the next day he's back and he's back. So he never dies. So
Right.
what do you know about death if you've not experienced it, and your experiences are mostly on television or, you know, it's that kind of understanding that I think a lot of people don't have. But if we can, those of us who really know what love does to our very core, it's who we are. If we can express that in ways that allow them to understand, it's what a part of our job is. But then, you know, a person could love a dog, you can love a bird, you can love a tree, you can love a dahlia. You know, my sister and I used to pick dahlias up on the Himalayas, you know, and take them up to our mother. It was the love of that flower. It's that kind of a feeling that is so deep in you that, you know, this just makes your heart sing. You know, it's something that's that deep within you that Raj Kushi.
Raj Khushi. Oh, wow, beautiful. So a lot of the international audience are there, you know, and this Raj Khushi is very Punjabi as well.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, I'm a Punjabi, so I understand when you say Raj Khushi, it's like, you know, be happy and this thing. And it just speaks to me. And and that's why I wanted to keep this interview one of the most different interviews of yours, because I've seen so much, because I want this your heart to be like what your message is to come out. And that's why I'm asking this. People who haven't experienced love, and of course talking to them about love, it gets lost. And our
Yes.
generation and generate, I'm a mother of 2 boys, and I am trying my level best to show it in best possible ways to them. But the ones who haven't, and they get encountered with us on day-to-day lives, what would you do so that they can feel what love is, even if they haven't never felt it? Because love is something, the minute it's felt, it starts to change the other person on the other side.
right. Well, maybe to visualize that we each have a flashlight in our hands and we
Right.
walk along a dark path, but we can see every step that the flashlight reaches. We can go as far as that flashlight reaches. That's as far as we can go. We keep on going. But every so often, as you're walking this path, there's a little flashlight on the side that doesn't have much light there. So if we can take our flashlight and add to that flashlight, not trying to make it scare it or frighten it away, but just add a little light to it so that they begin to see that this grows, that light enhances their life. It reaches farther than, it's what allows them to reach the stars. It's what E.T. was talking about when he said home. It's this true inner aspect of our human being that is still reaching to for our true humanity.
Right.
And the way I see us is that the world is a huge jigsaw puzzle, and each one of us is one of those pieces. And no one else can take that spot.
Oh, wow. Beautifully said.
But you influence every aspect of that part that you touch.
Beautiful. So beautifully said. I'm a photographer by profession, Doc. And so when you say these visuals, I'm just joining the puzzle in my eyes and just to, I've heard it many times that you're so unique, that your spot, like you are very unique. I've heard that, but your spot is yours and it affects the whole thing in the jigsaw puzzle. It's a gift. It's a gift you're giving us with this visual, that don't think that it's going to be complete without you. It is going to get completed when you take your spot at the right place. So
right.
beautiful.
And if you've done a big jigsaw puzzle and you come to the end and there's a piece missing, it'll drive you crazy.
Oh, it does. It does. I am, and that reminds me, I'll tell you, when I was expecting, my older one is 10. And when I was expecting, I was given this 1,000 piece jigsaw puzzle. And last week, 1 week was left and I was still photographing and everything. And my husband said, enough. I think only a week is left for the date. So I think you sit down home and finish this puzzle as a thing. I could only do 600 pieces before I went into labor and I delivered him. But I kept that puzzle that when he turns 10, because it's 10 plus, for him to complete it, because I was doing it with him in my, and my younger one is born now. I have a younger one who's already taken 3 pieces and I'm just going crazy trying to look for it because that puzzle has been waiting for 10 years. And now, the 3 pieces you're missing, it is driving me nuts. I'm like, I waited for 10 years for this puzzle to get over and you've just picked up 3 pieces and thrown it somewhere, it is driving me nuts. So I so relate to what you're saying, but the gift is that my place is my place. There is no insecurity about it. And the world only gets completed when my place is taken at the right spot where I'm meant to be. And, there's a modern word, FOMO. I don't know whether you are like fear of missing out. Our generation and below is always in a fear of missing out. If we can do this, or we can be there, or we can do this, and we're always restless. So when you bring this point down, what I understand is where you're standing, what your spot is, hold on to it. It has its place and it has meaning. So it's a beautiful gift, doctor. And now putting the piece of the medicine, and I'm also going to tell you to sing that song in the end, which I fell in love with because you love singing. But before that, I'm asking you the medicine part. The fact that our belief in the self-reversal in our bodies has gone out, and dependency on the medicine is the only way. Where does that piece come in with love? And then when you fall sick, and then for the doctors and for the patient, your work is around that. What do you have to say?
Well, when I started medical school, the World War II was just starting. So all of my medical training was about war and killing. So we were taught to kill disease and take away pain and the whole concept of painless childbirth brought the horrible business of what we did. We anesthetized the mother completely and used forceps to deliver the baby. I was really good at that. I was taught, I could even deliver a after coming head and all of that. But when I got into the practice of medicine and actively working with it, but even before that, well, I knew there was something missing when I was in training. I got into trouble with it enough that I was sent to the psychiatrist twice.
Wow.
Because I kept saying, no, there's something more here, and because I saw what my parents were doing. I knew what I wanted to do, because that's what I thought medicine was about, with connecting my spirit beareth witness with thy spirit. My doctor within me is in touch with the doctor within the patient. And that kind of a reality that I knew, because I knew it in my gut. I knew that's the way this had to be. So when we started the American Holistic Medical Association, it was because a group of us had been thinking about it, and this was in the late 60s. And finally we got together and created the American Holistic Medical Association. But it took us 2 years to figure out how to spell holistic, because the root word that we were talking about was health, healing, and holy, because it was that spiritual aspect of the whole process that was missing. And so that's why we started the American Holistic Medical Association, which later, when I was, well, let's see, it must have been about 2008 or something like that. I was in the grocery store up here, and I heard a hardware store down the street announcing itself as a holistic hardware store. So I stopped my cart and I said, well, there you have it. Yeah. It's a household word, but they have no idea what it means. So from that point on, I extended it to what we had been calling living medicine.
Beautiful. Yes.
And so that's what I'm calling it now.
I've ordered that book. I have ordered that book. I'm going to study it deeper. And just to take a question deeper, because I have been working in the space myself to reverse my husband's autoimmune for last 6 years. And I did not go the path of steroids and other things. And I said, no, we will reverse it. And of course, we became whole food plant-based. We went to natural, we went to meditation, we went to self-work, and I did it with him. And then I became very passionate about knowing that reversal is possible once we give it a chance to our body. And diagnosis is amazing. The medical world's ability to diagnose is the gift that we need to have, but immediately taking on to the solutions and not trusting our body is not. So am I right? Does that resonate with your work, if I'm understanding it correctly? Absolutely. My eldest son is orthopedic surgeon. Right. And when he had, I didn't tell this story, did I? No. Okay. So when he had finished his training, he came through Phoenix and he was going down to Del Rio, Texas to start his practice. And he said to me, Mom, I'm real scared. I'm going into the world and I'm going to have people's lives in my hand. I don't know if I can handle that. And I said to him, well, Carl, if you think you're the one that does the healing, you have a right to be scared. But if you can understand that it's your job to do what you've been taught to do, which is awesome. Orthopedic surgery is huge. If we've got broken bones or tissues, we want an orthopedic surgeon. So I said, it's your job to do the very best that you can do, that you've been trained to do, that you know how to do, and then support the physician that's within your patient to do the job that you're handing over to him. Absolutely. But you are still colleagues. You'll still be in contact with each other. I love that. I love the word that you said, your colleagues. I love it. And being a mom of, when I love books, and I realized that where did it come from, our dependency outward? When I started to read books to when I had the first one, and I started reading books to my younger one. And then everywhere it was, when you fall sick, you go to a doctor. And at a very young age, that's what is being put in children's head, that when you get sick, you go to the doctor. If you have a dental problem, you go to a dentist. So by the time we are older and the programming stage is done, we don't know anywhere else to go but to the doctor. Rather than reading books, we're saying you can first self-heal, take the help of the doctor, collaborate. So I am just urging you to write a children's book and get this down to the children, this concept that collaborate rather than go to the doctor. That's what comes to me right now.
Well, on even further back than that, what we have done to women to have them completely give up their power for birthing their own babies,
Right.
so that they think that they have to be delivered of,
Right.
And I'm having trouble not using that word when I'm talking about this. Oh, you were one of the babies I delivered, because at that time, that's the way we said it. But I now know that what we have done to our womanhood is take away our power, so that what we now think is that we can't birth our own babies. We have to be delivered of this process. And it's so wrong, because right from the very start, we women have accepted that this is the way it has to be. We go and we get the best delivery that we can possibly have, and we didn't feel a thing. Well, right. People are beginning to understand differently from that, and the whole home birthing process, which I worked with very hard, and actually went to Afghanistan to help them work with their birthing process, which was so hard. But you see what we've done. And here's another interesting thing. I have a friend who's a psychic. She gets information and stuff. And I was talking to her one day about the whole business that we were trying to manifest something. Something was going on. We were trying. And she said, I've come up with another term. She says, I think we need to start thinking about femifesting. And I thought, yes, that's what we've needed. We've needed a word for us as women to really understand that there's a whole half of the world, it needs to be allowed to femifest. Right. And the way I'm looking at it, manifesting is when you're able to, it's like Jacob's ladder. You get a degree, and then you can do this, and then you buy a house, and then you do that. You manifest something on this level. And then that's, and we as women have been trying to manifest stuff forever. And it doesn't work that way. We need to femifest. Femifest is like a spiral. And you can be up on the 5th level and know what's going on down on the 2nd level. It drives men crazy, but it's the way we work. And that's the way pregnancy works. The whole pregnancy is a manifestation of what happens when the baby takes its first breath and manifests. All of life is connected in this flow of energy, feminine, femifesting to manifesting, manifesting back. It's all part of one whole.
Right. There's so much to talk to you. This interview is a very short time duration to talk to you so much. And I did hear your TED talk at 100. You had gone and given a TED talk, and that's where I didn't check. Is the femifest word in the dictionary? Is it there in the dictionary, femifest?
No.
She
came up with it herself.
So we need to start a thing in her name and start this word called femifest and popularize it and give the credit to the person who came up with it. And
Because when you say it, it rings true, doesn't it?
it does. And of course, as a mother, I was thinking till there that, yeah, I'm teaching my child not to trust the body, because by that time I had started to reconnect in the reversal process with my husband. So I'm always asking him, can you heal it yourself? Like, can you do it yourself? Is it possible? And I time and again saw books saying, I have not found any book. It's one of my missions now to write books for children where we can go back and start trusting
Right.
the instincts that's there in their children language, and nothing against doctors. We need their collaboration all the time, because the diagnosis, the walking, what's happening, they studied so much, so many years done in it. But also sometimes they give up as well, doctor. They just give it. Doctors are working hard and it's just not going into the patients because the belief is not there. And
Right.
that's where they also lose the battle many times. And I'm so
Right.
glad that you brought this here. So if you met today's 10-year-old who is walking towards the AI world, I know it's a very odd question to ask you, but we are going to very soon be welcomed into the world of AI with robots and everything. What would you like to give a message to them if you have to? Because this is such a, it's already a contrast for me in these 40 years from the time when I was on a manual camera to this digital world and now AI. What would you like to say? I'm just curious, so I'm asking you this question.
Well, to start with, tell the little 10-year-old that every time you hurt yourself and your mother kissed you, she was healing you, that was bringing that kind of love into your body so that you could then heal yourself.
Right.
Because she kissed you and it was that love that
Right.
brought that to you.
Right.
So it's starting with the very understanding. And if a child says, oh, I love that plant, or I love that, not downplay it. Or if a child has a dream that they're talking about, and allow the child's imagination to reach as far as it can reach. It's like my little 4-year-old who came in one day and he says to me, I know something. And I says, what's that, Bobby? He says, I know that if I make a friend and he makes a friend and he makes a friend, it's going to go all the way around the world and come back to me. So of course he's a psychologist,
Right. Right.
And then another son, my son that's helping me here, he came in one day and he says, I wish Jesus was here. And I said, well, I do too, but why you? And he says, because I've got questions. And I said, well, try asking me, maybe I can help. And he says, you don't have any answers. And I said, well, but try me. So he says, okay. How can God be if he never got started? This is a 7-year-old, And I took a deep breath and I said, oh, well, okay, well, maybe it's like a big circle. It doesn't have a beginning or an end. And he said, I knew you didn't have the answers. No, but don't downplay your children's dreams or what they're saying they really love or they really want to do. It's when they bring this kind of a message to you, let them know at least that you're interested.
Right. My book is called 100 Self-Portrait, 100 Dreams, Doctor. I have brought 100 mothers. I want to bring you in as a bonus mom in that. It just got launched. I brought the global stories of mothers, and I insisted on them expressing themselves visually rather than in words more, because I felt that the mothers needed to dream first before the children could dream, because the mothers have stopped dreaming themselves. And
Right.
you're just so stuck into this world of doing. Raising children is all about doing, making them go on the other side. And that's what we need to do. And we need to do it perfect. And when we've got stuck there, and the imagination and dream has gone out of us, and whatever is out of us can never be in them. And that's why, I started this whole project for mothers first, to bring it back to the mothers so that it ripple out from there. So the children can do the imagination and dreaming, because it's very far-fetched idea now for many of us to sit down and dream and create. And
Right. And don't overprotect your child. Let them reach past what's, there are limits. You can't let them pick up a cobra or anything like that. But climbing steps or riding a bicycle or something, allow them to know that they can get hurt, but they can get healed.
right.
The trouble isn't that you fall down. The trouble is you forget to get up, or you have somebody else thinks that they have to be picked up.
Right. Right. Beautiful, doctor. I'm going to just take out some names. There are a lot of comments which are like a lot of people are here, and there's so many that there's Lucy joining us, Debbie joining us, all of them in awe. There are a lot of comments. Patty is here, Francis is here. I'm in awe at the graceful and elegancy of Dr. Gladys. Get her message, and how beautiful is Debbie saying. Lucy supporting us. Sarah is here. There are a lot of people. So thank you so much for joining. And I'm going to make sure that I actually share this. I also want to tell you that there is a GoFundMe. Though India, I don't know how much in India, they can still go through the GoFundMe link. But there is a GoFundMe link I had seen.
Right.
And can you just briefly talk about that, doctor? What is the documentary about? And we can all try to support you by sharing it as much as we can for that funds.
Well, it's about reaching into the future. I'm calling it a village for living medicine. And it can be any place in the world, any place where people really want to become a community that enhances and reaches for that amazing inner aspect of ourselves. It's why you sing, and it's my 5 L's. Let me just quickly, that'll bring it together. The first one is life. Life without love it can't work. It's like the big seed in the pyramid, which is, or a little seed, it has all the energy of the universe in it, but it doesn't do anything until love, which is water and sunlight and so on, comes in and cracks the shell, and then life and love become one. It's like the sperm and the ovum, they become one. At that point, then they have to reach out and grow, and that's where laughter comes in.
Right.
Laughter without love is mean, it's cruel, it can be devastating. But laughter without love is happiness and joy.
Right.
And the fourth one is labor. Labor without love is drudgery. Oh my, I gotta go to work. Too many diapers. This is too hard. But labor with love is bliss. It's why you do what you do. It's why I do what I do. This is what really makes your heart sing.
Absolutely.
And the fifth one is listening. Listening without love is empty sound, but listening with love is understanding.
Absolutely.
If we can put this kind of a foundation on the way we want to live our lives, we got a good start.
Right. Beautiful. It's such a wise message to have. And doctor, you should know that me and the people who've joined you here would love to support any initiative and share as much as we can your message, because we've learned so much in the short knowing of last 2 weeks of just listening to you on various platforms, and now actually Zoom meeting you and bringing you here. We're totally supportive, and we wish your message just pans out and all the hope comes back through that.
Right.
And everybody in here, I'm sure, is going to, Lucy is there, Sarah, all of them are going to just share this, I know, in a big way. And
Okay.
I'm very glad to know. And the beautiful
It's
part of today is
GladysMcGarey.com.
GladysMcGarey.com is where we need to go, everybody. I'm going to put your link, and I'm going to also put the GoFundMe link, which is there here, so
Right,
that
right.
everybody is going to get that. Thank you for also adding the mother part to this interview. Message for the mothers, your journey as a mother, and giving examples, Dr. Gladys. Before leaving, what would you like to say? Anything would you like to say to mothers, because this platform is for mothers, and any message for the mothers?
Well, let me just try to sing a little
Oh
lullaby.
yeah, oh I forgot. Yes,
The
totally,
little
please.
lullaby that I used to sing to my
Totally.
Ninny baby ninny, roti makhan chinni, roti makhan ho gaya, mera baby so gaya, jhool baby jhool, teri topi mein phool, toot gayi topi bikhar gaye phool, baby ki malanya ho pikina ko.
Doctor, you have to sing that song for us Indians, the Kira song. That is like, that's beautiful. I've never even heard. I wanted to hear that song fully. In the YouTube channel, I saw a little part of it.
Which one?
The Kira.
Oh, देखो देखो ये छोटा सा
Yeah.
कीड़ा है,
Yeah.
देखो देखो ये छोटा सा कीड़ा है, उसके आंखों हैं दो, उसके टांगों हैं आठ, देखो देखो ये छोटा सा कीड़ा है, तितली बन के उड़ेगा, तितली बन के उड़ेगा, देखो देखो ये छोटा सा कीड़ा है.
Beautiful, and such a beautiful message that it's a small insect for the global audience, and it's going to become a butterfly. So just keep watching it. Thank you, God, Dr. Gladys. You stay on, and thank you so much for everybody else who's joined us in comments here. I am going to reply it. We must share this message, her links, her thing, because this is a rare, and our planet needs this kind of a message to be shared. So please share Dr. Gladys' website, her message, this interview, and whatever support we'll get, we'll send it via emails. Whatever questions come in, we'll send it to you, Dr. Gladys, to you. And we're standing here supporting you, and I promise that I will do my best to bring this message out and support it. You stay on. I'm just going off live before I say bye-bye to you. Thank you so much for everybody joining. I'm going to just take it off on the thing.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, world.
Thank you, world. It is world joining us. Thank you so much.